Hi everyone. It's 3 in the morning in Chicago here, and I'm just waiting for my brother to call me because I called him, but he's not answering. It's supposed to be morning in Kiev already. So I don't know what's going on, but I decided to. I received so many emails and letters from my Russian clients, and also I talked to my Ukrainian friends who live in Kiev and other cities of Ukraine. But I thought it would be interesting for you to hear one of the letters that I received from a person who lives in Russia this morning because it's very detailed about the situation, what's going on there. Here I read it. I translated it from Russian into English. Oksana, hello. Some kind of strange silence, but everything is building up. People are buying up products. Prices are growing many times over for buckwheat, coffee, and everything else. In some regions, there are already restrictions on one hand, so soon we will be on food stamps. What worries me the most is that they will soon impose martial law and general mobilization. Shangu has already made this suggestion to Putin. Shangu is the general who's in charge of the army. But he rejected it. But this is the usual practice of introducing it as usual. There's almost nowhere to go, nowhere to leave. There's absolute disinformation and propaganda on TV. Like what they say is that America and the rest of the world want to destroy Russia, but they are telling Russian people to stand up, to rise up, to fight fascism to the end. But basically, they're twisting the whole thing because Putin is saying that he's fighting fascism in Ukraine, when in fact Ukraine is defending itself, and Putin is the one who's basically a fascist who's doing the committing the absolute crime against humanity there. It's like genocide of Ukrainians. But they're twisting everything the opposite way, just like in the Matrix they always do to the Russian people. They say, well, because America is and the rest of the world supports Ukrainians in defending themselves, in fighting with us, not surrendering, then we have to fight Ukrainians all together. So she's saying that the Russia asked Syrians to help them take over Kiev, the capital of Ukraine. And she's saying so far we're talking about 16,000 Syrians, but I want to believe that not everything will work out there. The most disgusting thing is that this creature, she calls Putin creature, beast, and doesn't send all the other ones of the Russian security forces. There are forces like Amon. Amon is more like police of Russia, internal troops, police, Rosguardia, who are armed and trained to suppress people in Russia, and most importantly serve to protect the VVP. A huge number of them. But they sent 18-year-old children who should not have allowed out of training ground. Information is being blocked. YouTube will probably be shut down soon. Maybe there will be an international internal internet. And in general, martial law with curfew, closing the borders, give them absolute control over the people of Russia. Then she writes about her son. So as long as channels like Taras, she's talking about a couple of channels in Russia that she says that say the truth, what is really happening in Ukraine, and how Russian young kids, basically, right, 17, 18-year-old children sent to Ukraine. So she said as long as channels like Taras Berezovich, Yuri Shvets are open, which daily give the real situation, real update on the situation in Ukraine and analysis of the events. In general, poor Ukraine has been bombed and Russia is being prepared for a blockade and hunger, like in the besieged Leningrad. This is their plan. They show stupid entertaining programs on TV as if nothing is happening in Ukraine. Last night, Channel 1, it's a first Russian channel, again showed Pretty Woman with Richard Gere. I see everything, as you say, exactly. And there are very many people who are against the regime of Putin, but they cannot be heard. I read so many comments, and some people are unaware. Some kind of special operation is going on, and that is all they know. Putin alone is on the screens as a hero. I think he has less than a month to go. But there are so many doubles that it will take some time to find out. In general, he doesn't allow anyone to go into his bunker with a guard of 10,000 people. Even he has isolated himself from the Minister of Defense. It is a total lack of law. I think this is a rampage, not so much by the Draconians now, but the Nordics. This is her opinion that she tell me. Absolute repetition in everything. Apparently, they're taking revenge on us for the defeat of fascism in the World War II. Our dear Ukrainians, just to tears how heroically they endure it all. One-on-one with zombified soldiers. Yes, Z is a zombie. Their way of waging the war. Zombie apocalypse. Our news anchors on the first channels have Z on their clothes too. So there's a goal to lead the war for as long as possible in order to destroy as many people, humans, as possible. One thing is still I don't understand is what the pandemia, everything was done through voluntary consent, at least in some way, like they can't violate the law of man's free will. And those who have a lot of fear consented. So basically she's talking about how come that, with those things that during the, pandemics, people just did this to themselves. But in this war, basically, a lot of young men from Russia sent, as they say, against their will. They even catch them on the streets and force them to go to the army now, which she's talking about here. I just kind of long letter to read. She says that they're basically given no choice. They, if they refuse to fight, their own commanders kill them. If they fight, that they are killed because they don't have any experience in fighting. And a lot of mothers even say that there are children, boys, only were holding guns for the pictures. They don't even know how to shoot the guns. How can they ever fight? So then he writes, Oksana, forgive me for saying so much, but I'm alone, the lack of communication effects. And you're the only outlet. You're the closest to me now of all people. I can't even fit into my head how they're killing mothers and babies, children in Ukraine. It's such a nightmare. I'm not able to perceive because I feel everything at once. And then immediately I just stiffen with pain inside. What's going on, Oksana? Ukraine alone is fighting against fascism, against non-humans in the world. Well, I'm really thankful to her for this letter, and it really touched my heart because I know there's a lot of Russians know and think the same. A lot of them are zombified by TV because that's the only platform they watch. A lot of them are in denial and they would rather defend the materialism. Like I saw a lot of videos how young Russian 20-30-year-olds are crying because Instagram is being closed for them on March 14th, because that's how they lead their business, that's how they sell their products. And it's so, the materialistic hook playing its role here, the egregore of money, which we have to destroy. We have to get rid of egregore of money, get rid of egregore of politics, politicians, all this control system of religion. There's so many of them. It's a whole pyramid. But I'm thankful to this person and to many of you who live in Russia, my friends in Ukraine. All of you are telling me the true story, what's going on there, because there's a lot of disinformation on YouTube and videos, of course. So what I tell you, people who watch me, is what I hear from by just simply calling people. I call people, we talk on WhatsApp, we talk through Messenger, email to each other, and we call a lot. There's some things you can just write, it's easier to talk about. Some things people are afraid to talk about, and some of them are, tell me don't tell the others about it, because it's important to keep it a secret in terms of the security of Ukraine and who's helping us and what the plans are to win this war. And a lot of Polish people tell me that they're terrified that Russia will go after them. A lot of people from Latvia, Lithuania saying the same. And Georgians are with Ukrainians also, because in Georgia, Russia did the same to Georgia. There's even this anecdote, like a joke going in between people, that they say, well, Russia is very, the neighbors of Russia says that they're very unlucky with the neighbors, because all the neighbors attack each other somehow and fight with each other. That's a propaganda. That's the thing, the fake news that they spread to in the beginning of this war. Like, look, Ukrainians shooting at their own schools, Ukrainians are bombing their own buildings, which is not true, because there is garages and garages that Ukrainians found, and also just locals found, filled with Ukrainian uniforms that Russians are using. And it's a well-known fact. They take over the cars from Ukrainian citizens, civilians, and they drive in those cars and shooting at people. So there's so much stuff going on, and they don't play by the rules of the war whatsoever. So imagine if they're lying about everything. They get dressed as Ukrainian soldiers and commit crimes against humanity by killing children, people in their cars trying to flee, trying to run away from their cities that being bombed. The green corridors are being bombed too, and the shootings occur in those. And my friend told me when they put them in the bus after the green corridor, they told them that they cannot guarantee that they're gonna make it to Lviv, to Western Ukraine, alive. So imagine how it feels. You're driving to Western Ukraine hoping to get to safety, and there's no guarantee that none of the Russian tanks are gonna start shooting at you. Well, that's the reality of it. And I just wanted to share with you the perspective of Russian people who are aware and, high consciousness level, and what they tell me every day. It's just hard to put it all together, so I decided to read this letter to you directly, translated by me from Russian. So thank you so much, and see you next time.